There are several ways to win an election. Sometimes if you have a very popular person, a celebrity, a sports figure, any of these things, you might can win an election just on name recognition. And, then you're in office. That's a great thing. You can do what you want. You're elected. But if your group is made up of mostly rank and file citizens, you're going to have to rely on something else. And generally that means, coming up with a list of issues. I call it a slate of issues that are popular and that appeal to the voting public, because you have to get, a majority to win. And so, also, I think in this climate, you have to get a few things, and you have to be flexible on a few other things. And so you can't just offer what you want and hope that people will vote for that in enough numbers for you to win. And today I'm going to not talk about so much the progressive issues that I embrace, because I want to reduce the struggle that human beings face on this planet and, make life better for all people. I want to appeal to a different side of all of us. And that's generally, what I'm going to talk about are issues that appeal to Republicans, some Republicans, people who are voting Republican. They're not traditional Republicans. And to conservatives. Conservatives are people who, they want to conserve. They like things the way they are, or the way they were in the past. And Republicans are generally the party of business. And so the Democratic voters have been going over to the Republican side, more and more and more over the last several decades. And we want to give them some reason to come back so that progressives can begin to win elections, and win elections on an agenda that, will actually do some good for the middle class. And as long as you can show that you're working in the interest of working people, consumers, middle-class people, you should be able to win an election. And that's what I have focused all of my issues on. Today, we're going to see how we could get a few Republican and conservatives over to this side of the aisle. And I'm going to list several. The first thing I want to list is what's wrong with having a flat tax. Redoing the tax system, the federal tax code, is way too complicated, and just do away with all that and have a flat tax. You make X amount of income, you look it up, and we've gone over this, I believe, in a previous video. Working people who are making, less than $50,000, somewhere around in there, you're going to pay 15%. You make a little bit more than that, you're going to pay 20%. And so we know that today the average middle-class worker, blue-collar workers, is paying about 25. So you can go out and say, look, we're going to freeze taxes on the middle class. That's the first thing I would come out with. That's a headline, and dare the Republicans to meet that. We're going to freeze taxes on the middle class. We're the party. If we're going to be, all of us are going to go to. I'm an independent, so if all of us are going to go over to the Democratic Party, if that's what it's going to be, and we're going to say we are the party of the middle class, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to freeze taxes at the current level, and that, no middle class person will pay more than 25%. And that's what I would do, and I would stick with that year in and year out and dare Republicans to meet that every year. Make Republicans begin to talk more and more about the middle class. Start showing the differences in what they say they're interested in, and dividing us and showing what they will do for us. The next thing I would reach out to those groups of people is I would offer them term limits. Now, I'm not a big term limit person. I don't have strong feelings on it. I'm not sure what the outcome would be of having term limits, but I'm willing to try it, because voters who are 100% citizens, they're just as important as anybody else, and they are interested in it. So when enough people are interested in something, you need to address it. You either need to show why it's wrong, and I can't really find a whole lot wrong with it. Or, maybe you use that as something to say, well, if you will vote with us on certain things, then we will support you too. That's how you put together a coalition. And so if you had say 10 years for congressmen who are, representatives, they run every 2 years. If they do 5 terms, then they're out. And then senators, if they do 2 terms, that's 12 years. And then, that's all they can do. So term limits is something that appeals to people, just like the flat tax. So there's 2 issues right there that we could appeal to voters that we're not getting right now, and to try to bring them back into the fold, because middle-class people and rank-and-file workers and consumers need to be in this same coalition. And I guess that coalition is going to be in the Democratic Party. Another thing that we could do that certainly wouldn't hurt anyone and would help everybody would be to say, look, we don't think that elected officials should profit from public service. And that's what we need to say, and dare Republicans to go, yeah, we'll match you on that. When someone goes to Washington, they, whatever their net worth is, they need to, have a committee, some independent body goes, okay, we see your taxes, we see what your net worth is. And when they come out of office, it needs to be the same thing. They look at their taxes every year to be sure they're not profiting from their time in public service. And when they leave public service, they shouldn't be able to become lobbyists, and they shouldn't be able to have book deals and speaking fees where they go and get $250,000 and more, much more, for a 45-minute speech. It doesn't make any sense in the world. Even if there is nothing going on, maybe if they just have a lot of money and you're a, very elitist person, you're one of the most famous people in the world, what is worth, say, $300,000 of your time for a 30-minute, 45-minute speech? I don't think there is one, So even if there's nothing going on, it looks like the appearance is that they could be paying you for something you have done for them, or that in some way they're paying you for something you will do, or someone that you can influence will do. And so we just need to end that. And, that's a sad thing that all these people go into office and they come out worth, 20 and 30 and 40 and $50 million. I know that they did it, but from now on, no one should do it. The Clintons went into office. I don't think they were extremely wealthy. The Obamas went into office, and I don't think they were extremely wealthy. And they've come out, worth tens of millions of dollars. And good. I mean, while they've done that, that's fine. They're gone. But in the future, I don't think anyone should be able to do that. Whatever you are when you go in, that's what you ought to be when you come out. And I believe that would appeal to, the Republicans, and I don't see why progressive people would be against that at all. Another thing we could do is make clear something that, would require a little more detail, and we're going to put into it right now. But we all support, I hope, welfare for people who need it. We want to give people a hand up. That we're not in the business of giving people a handout. We're all for self-sufficiency. We want to have programs that enable people to get on their feet and get into the job market. And we want to help them in every way we can. We have about 28 million people in this country who are in poverty. Some of them work and they're still in poverty. So we want to fix those problems. And we need Republican help and Democratic help. But we want to make it clear things that are mostly already true, which is that welfare is limited. It only can apply, like in Georgia, the last time I looked, it was available for 3 years for your whole life. If you needed it for a year and then you got back on your feet, okay, then you have 2 years of eligibility left. But once you used all that up, no matter how dire your circumstances, you weren't able to get it. Children, they're always able to get it because why? They're children. If they're in poverty, we don't want children starving in this country. We can't justify that when you look at the number of fancy golf courses, yachts in every harbor where there's a body of water deep enough to hold them. This is not the kind of country we can let people starve to death. So we have to have some kind of safety net, and we want to let the Republicans know that we want to be responsible with that. And in addition, we're reminding them, say, look, while we're supporting welfare, you're not paying anything extra. Let them know right off the bat. They're not paying anything beyond what they're paying now, no matter what kind of support, what kind of social programs we come up with. Their taxes are frozen in what they are today. No working person, no middle class person will pay more than 25%. And that's good because we want to do away with poverty and hunger in this country and do more, So as long as we are limiting taxes on all working citizens, then let us become efficient and use that money to make the trains run on time. But in addition to making the trains run on time, we want to have social support and a safety net. And that's really what I think many Americans would support, in general. In the last appeal to conservatives and Republicans, I would go back to the tax issue because they really don't like taxes. They've been taught not to like government, not to trust government. And I think I would like to work on that. I think government is a wonderful thing. It does a wonderful service. We could not survive without government. We need efficient government, and we should all work in that toward that goal. But we also need to address these problems that have been hit. We've been hit over the head with it year in and year out. Government's too big, government's bloated. I don't think that, but okay. So what we can do to fight that is tell all workers, Republicans, conservatives, and all other workers, that look, there's a 35% cap on income tax and on every form of tax that you pay. So at the end of the year, you're paying so much in federal tax, so much in state tax, so much in local, so much for your car tag, whatever it is. When it gets to be 35%, then that's it. That's all you have to pay. And then we figure out, who takes the discount after that. Probably the federal government. So there's several key things there, flat tax, term limits, a full disclosure on becoming an elected official, not profiting from your public service, and putting a cap on just how expensive government could ever be. And that, I think, would bring some people back from the Republican Party to vote along with the Democrats so that we could win some elections and do some of the things that we would like to do. So anyway, those are the issues, and next time we'll take on another topic to try to put together this coalition so that we can have responsible government, low taxes, but yet produce programs that help all of us at home and abroad.